What's going on, guys? Krusty K's here from the Go Boys Network, coming to the MLB slate preview for July 5th. Hope everybody had an awesome 4th of July. As always, you can get all these odds at FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into this one. We have an afternoon game on a Friday. Does it get any better? The Chicago Cubs taking on the Los Angeles Angels. This is Griffin Canning versus Justin Steele. I mean, Cubs at minus 190 here. It's not really an appealing price. I have a hard time believing that they're worth a minus 190 price tag, truthfully. So for me in this one, I do like the Cubs. I'm just not sure I could personally get there at the minus 190. I'd probably like to play it as like a performance double, maybe like a Justin Steele, 5Ks in the Cubs money line. I would imagine it'd be close to even money. We don't have any strikeout props yet, so I'm not sure what his line's going to be. But I'd imagine a 5.5. So if we do get a 5.5, I think 5Ks in the Cubs money line, I think that's a great play. I think they do win this game. Griffin Canning's been pretty bad, and weather in Chicago has been pretty warm, especially the wind be blowing out, especially during the day. And I think these Cubs bats can kind of get going against the guy who's really struggled this season. Our next one, the New York Mets taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. This is Luis Severino versus Paul Skeens. I think I'm going to be on the Mets here. Mets money line. So Severino's a guy we all know, elite ground ball rate. Should really have a pretty easy time navigating this Pittsburgh lineup, in my opinion. And I mean, I think Paul Skeens pitches well. Like, I'm not sitting here thinking that Skeens ain't lit up by any means. You know, totals at 7.5, likely for good reason. For me here, it's really what happens when Skeens leaves this game. I think Severino can go, punch for punch with Skeens in this one. I really do. I like Severino. He has a much easier matchup than Skeens does, in my opinion. This Mets team against righties over the last 2 weeks, last 30 days, been crushing the ball. So they've been a little worse away from home, so maybe they struggle, and maybe that gives Skeens an edge. But I mean, I think personally that the Mets have a better chance of doing some damage against Skeens than the Pirates do against Severino. So give me the Mets on the money line here. Our next one, the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Washington Nationals. Sonny Gray versus Patrick Corbin. Fade Patrick Corbin day, right? So minus 185 on the money line on the road. That's a gross one for me. I personally can't get there. I am going to go with the Cardinals team total, though. It's Fade Patrick Corbin day. The Cardinals against lefties, they're built to mash lefties. They just really haven't been this season. But, I mean, this is as good a time as any to get the bats going, right? So give me the Cardinals team total here. I think they go over it. I do think Sonny Gray pitches well. I'd probably look at his pitching outs, if anything. Don't really love the Ks in this spot. But I do like the Cardinals put up some runs here against old Patrick Corbin. Our next one, the Boston Red Sox taking on the New York Yankees. Tanner Houck versus Nestor Cortez. Boston still can't hit lefties. I don't know what it is. You saw Trevor Rogers, who's been pretty bad this season, pretty much dismantle this team for the time he was in. Nestor Cortez at home. Give me the Yankees on the money line. I love Tanner Houck. We all know that. It's a guy I talk about. I speak very highly of. But I think this is just a brutal matchup. You get a Yankees team who, I mean, admittedly, they're not really swinging the bats that well. But this feels as good a spot as any for them to kind of get them going here. And like I said, I think Nestor, this Boston team against lefties, they can't figure it out. So I like Nestor to pitch well. Yankees on the money line here at only a minus 135, which is a crazy price to me. So give me the Yankees on the money line here. Our next one, the Chicago White Sox taking on the Miami Marlins. Drew Thorpe versus Rodri Munoz. Give me the White Sox in the first 5. Drew Thorpe is a guy who I don't speak very highly of. We all know that. Fastball does not play well in the majors. But for me here, I think it will. So you get this Miami team who leads the league in chase rate by a wide margin. Their chase rate outside of the zone, it's like 40% over the last 30 days, pretty much the whole season, truthfully. And then they have the highest swing rate, period. The issue with that is they don't make a lot of contact. So I think that Thorpe, his best pitch is the changeup by far. It's not even close. Okay, that's the best pitch without question. If he can locate the fastball well enough to at least get some foul balls, he doesn't get a lot of swings and misses with it because it's just not good. But if he can get guys into these, situations where they have to go after you have to, make a decision, I think the changeup is going to really, give him an edge here against this aggressive lineup. So I like him to pitch really well in this spot. I don't necessarily know if I like his strikeouts or just him to pitch well, but I think he pitches really well against this Marlins team, and their aggressiveness here kind of hurts them. So, I mean, Rodri Munoz, I mean, he's a guy who's, I mean, he has good stuff. We've seen it kind of an Edward Cabrera type, you know, high velo, sinker, changeup. I mean, I just think that this White Sox team, they're kind of scrappy right now. I mean, we saw them put up runs against Cleveland pretty consistently. I like them here in the first 5. I think Thorpe pitches really well.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the Gold Boys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the Gold Boys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
Our next one, the Detroit Tigers taking on Cincinnati Reds. This is Reese Olson versus Carson Spires. For me in this one, regrettably, I like the Tigers. I just like Reese Olson. I think he pitched really well here. He's been really good against lefties. He's going to see a pretty lefty-heavy lineup here from the Reds. And again, this is a spot where I think like the lineup and the way they kind of do things, I think it's going to hurt them. So you're getting a lefty-heavy team to which he's been really good. K% is considerably higher. Just been really, really good against lefties this season. I think he can navigate this lineup relatively easy. I mean, the Tigers' offense, they're not really doing much. But they're guys who, if you're putting in the zone consistently, they can do some damage. They got some guys who can hit. So I think this one's going to be kind of gross, truthfully. I'm actually a little surprised to see the total at 9.5. But I do like the Tigers on the money line here. Our next one, the Giants taking on the Cleveland Guardians. This is, as of right now, the Giants have not announced a starter. Cleveland is rolling out Tanner Bybee, though. So give me the Guardians on the money line. I don't know what the price is going to be yet. I don't really care. If it's too juice, throw it in a parlay. I love Tanner Bybee. Love him in this spot. You get a Giants team, low swing rate early in the counts. We talk about this with Bybee all the time. Really high first pitch strike rate, right around 68.3%. He does a really good job of getting strike one. And I really think that this is a spot where, you know, he could take advantage of this Giants team, their patience essentially, and put them in some awkward situations where they have to, you know, make a decision with 2 strikes, and Bybee ends up pitching really well in the spot. So obviously the Cleveland Guardians, we know their offense, top 10 in versus right-handed pitching over the last 30 days. I'm assuming we're going to see some sort of righty bullpen type thing out of the Giants. I mean, if that changes, it really won't change my opinion on the game, but I do like Cleveland here on the money line. Our next one, the Phillies taking on the Braves. Aaron Nola versus Max Fried. We're on the Braves here. This is really simple. So, I mean, I love the Phillies. One of my favorite teams to back. I like the Braves. The Phillies, though, no Schwarber, no Harper, no JT. That's it. I can't back them confidently with that. We don't have a price yet for this game. I'm expecting to come out sometime soon. Likely expecting it to be relatively close to a pick'em, even without those guys, just because it's the Phillies. But I like the Braves here. I think they get the win. I think Fried pitches well. He gets a watered-down lineup to go against. I think it helps him here. And, I mean, on the other side, I mean, Nola's a guy who has really pitched well against the Braves throughout his career. I couldn't talk anybody off of his strikeouts in this game. This Braves team, man, they know how to strike out. We keep seeing it time and time again. So I like the Braves to get the win, but won't be surprised if Nola racks them up quite a bit. Our next one, the Tampa Bay Rays taking on Texas Rangers. Right now, I believe it's going to be Shane Baz for the Rays. So, young prospect, pitched a bit last year or a year before that. Throws pretty hard, like a 3-pitch mix. Obviously, he's from the Tampa Bay Rays organization, so they know how to develop pitchers. Kid's pretty good. With that being said, I like Tampa Bay here. Going up against Lorenzen, this is a guy who pretty much serves up BP, you know, majority of the time he comes out. He's actually had a pretty good season this year. I won't take that away from him. But this Texas team still hasn't figured it out offensively yet, and I refuse to back them, especially with Lorenzen on the mound. So give me Shane Baz and the Tampa Bay Rays to get the win here. Our next one, the Houston Astros taking on the Minnesota Twins. This is Sean Dubin versus Pablo Lopez. So Dubin, this is going to be like a kind of a bullpen game for the Astros here. I always get worried about those types of games, so I'm not really sure what teams are going to do against it. But this Twins team, especially at home, just been so hot versus righties. Probably going to see a healthy mix of righties here out of this Astros bullpen. So give me the Twins on the money line here. I like them to put up some runs. Third best offense versus righties over the last 2 weeks. Really think they just do some damage here. Pablo Lopez seems to be figuring out a bit. Definitely has looked better his last couple starts. Gets a pretty tough matchup here, but I think he can navigate it pretty well. Hey guys, I just want to give a quick reminder that new users can bet $5 at FanDuel on any of the bets in this video and win $150 in bonus bets if the bet wins. Now let's get back to the bets. Our next one, the Kansas City Royals taking on the Colorado Rockies. Cole Ragans versus Kyle Freeland. I'm going to be on the under here. This is a gross game. This is a gross one to take because obviously they're at Coors, but neither of these teams hitting lefties particularly well. Kyle Freeland's found a way to pitch well at Coors. Kudos to him. Cole Ragans, power pitcher, fastball slider. It's going to play well at Coors. Talk about all the time. That's the pitch mix I like to attack when they play at Coors. I think it plays really well. And Cole Ragans has a good one. So, like the under here, no total yet. If I had to guess, it'll be like 10, and I'm taking the under. I think this game ends up like 3-2, something in that realm. Our next one, the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on San Diego Padres. Slade Ceasoni versus Randy Vasquez. Diamondbacks team total over. Randy Vasquez is a guy who struggles against lefties. Going to see a pretty lefty-heavy lineup out of this Diamondbacks team, especially with Perdomo back. Should have at least 5 lefties, potentially more, depending on what they decide to do. But this team loaded with lefties, and if you've looked at Randy Vasquez splits against righties, I think they have like a 179 batting average. Against lefties, the batting average is over 400. So he gets absolutely tagged by lefties. This is a high-contact team in general, and I think they tattoo Randy Vasquez here. So give me the Diamondbacks team total over. Next one, the Baltimore Orioles taking on the Oakland Athletics. Albert Suarez versus Hogan Harris. I mean, Baltimore Orioles, my line. Suarez pitched really good for this team. Think that continues. Gets a pretty cake matchup here against Oakland. We all know that. They're not hitting very well right now. Lead the league in whiffs, striking out a ton. Baltimore against lefties, absolutely mashing. WRC plus of like 140 over the last 2 weeks. They do strike out quite a bit against lefties, so maybe Hogan Harris gets his Ks. You won't catch me taking it, though, because this is a game where you could just as easily lose it and only pitch for a couple innings. Even the Orioles on the money line. Minus 185, throwing a parlay. I think it's one of those ones. I don't want to say it's safe, but it's pretty damn close. Our next one, this is a good one. Toronto Blue Jays taking on Seattle Mariners. Kevin Gausman versus Luis Castillo. This is a great pitching matchup here. I see Seattle favored, and I want to go the other way. I like Toronto here. So Kevin Gausman's a guy who really hasn't, been the Kevin Gausman we're used to seeing. But this Seattle team is like all-time bad right now. K percent of like 32.8% over the last 14 days for right-handed pitching. Contact rate just continues to plummet lower and lower. And if there was ever a spot for Gausman to kind of be the Gausman we're used to seeing, it's a spot. So I think Castillo pitches relatively well, but I mean, this is a Toronto team who, while I hate backing them, they actually are hitting righties pretty well over the last 30 days. Do think they can get get something off of Castillo here, and I think Gausman, like I said, this could be the one where we see the vintage Gausman performance. Give me Toronto plus money on the road. Our last one, Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is Freddie Peralta versus Tyler Glasnow. Dodgers on my line. Don't know what the price is going to be yet. Hasn't come out. I would imagine it's going to be relatively playable because Freddie Peralta versus Tyler Glasnow. I don't envision the Dodgers being like a minus 200 or anything like that in this spot. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I think this money line will be relatively playable. If for some reason it's not, parlay with the Orioles and go contra money when it cashes. But main thing for me here. So the Dodgers, majority of the season have struggled to score when Glasnow pitches for whatever reason. Freddie Peralta on the road has not been good. Command has been an issue. You're going to face a Dodgers team that does not chase, does not expand the zone, and they see a lot of pitches. So for a guy like Freddie Peralta, who's not efficient, this could be a very rough spot for him. And then plus with the Milwaukee bats, while I do like them, they're leaving Coors, and we talk about this all the time. When you leave Coors, there's that Coors hangover. This is that spot right here. So they're playing right now as I record this at Coors, final game of the series. And now you have to travel to LA. You're going to play this game late at night. This is the hangover spot. Expect Glass now to take advantage of that. I think he pitches really well. He's coming off a pretty piss poor outing, in my opinion. This is the spot to kind of right that ship back at home against a team that's going to be in a sleepy spot. So Dodgers money line here. That does conclude the slate. If you guys do me a favor, drop a like, drop a comment. Before I hop off, though, my 3 favorite looks for this one. Number 1, Dodgers money line. Absolutely love it. Favorite play of the entire slate, without question. Number 2, the Braves money line. Absolutely love that. And number 3, the Mets money line. Love all 3 of those plays. For whatever reason, the other day, my best bets were absolutely terrible, but the other stuff did pretty well. Hopefully, this time I can get the best bets to come through for everybody. As always, you can get all of my official plays at goldboys.com. If you have a gambling problem, don't want to hurt a gambler. Thank you, guys.